But I thought DevOps days really built upon the momentum of the Phoenix project, really carried that movement forward. And it's one of the best revolutionary movements that have happened in IT in my 35 years.
Welcome to the Forward Slash. I am your host, Aaron Chesney, with my beautiful co-host, James Carman. James, who do we have on our list of victims today?
I am so excited. John Kimball. This is like a blast from the past. I'm so happy to see you, John. We worked together a long time ago, many years ago. I won't mention how many, but John reached out and said he's been listening to the podcast and he'd be interested in coming on and just chatting with us. So, John Kimball, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, all of the fun things. How you got to where you are today.
Sure. My name is John Kimball. I am in the middle of my 5th decade working in professional IT. I have been in IT for 35 years. That means I started my career in 1989. If you were to describe my 35 years, I like to break it up into 3 chunks to be as quick and descriptive as possible. So the first 10 years, I was a Unix sysadmin. I worked with many different flavors of Unix. Started with Microport, went to SCO, went to Sun, went to Solaris, went to AIX, ended my Unix sysadmin career in 1999 with IRIX, the SGI's beautiful flavor of Unix. Then a good chunk of my career, I'd say 20 years, right in the middle, was web systems administrator, web application server. Discovered, hey, I think this internet and web thing is going to be big. So I might want to pivot off the IRIXs and the AIXs of the world and go and become a web server administrator, web systems administrator, and eventually evolve into an application server administrator. So that was hot, I'd say, for about 20 years. And so that was good. Long time for IT. Pivoted off of that, and I was like, you know what? I think this DevOps thing's got a shot. I think this is really going to take off. I think I really need to start moving my career into those fields and into some newer fields. So for the last 5 years, I was a DevOps engineer briefly, but now I'm a DevSecOps engineer. Again, it appeared like DevOps was, hey, this is good. And then it was like, man, there's a security component. And the way I looked at it was security vulnerabilities are never going to stop. And the hackers are getting better. So this field looks really hot, real stable. And it looks like when I first started, a field where there's more demand than availability. So I've been doing DevSecOps quite a bit for the last 5 years, currently doing it now. Let's see. Personally, I've been married for 28 years. I have a son who's 25. I have a daughter who's 22. I live in a house in the middle of my street.
So you mentioned, and it's pretty cool. You seem like you took a very deliberate path through your career, kind of analyzing and looking at the market and seeing what's hot, where do I need to position myself. What drew you to DevOps? What specifically?
Good question. The big thing is the Phoenix Project. That's what drew me. The Phoenix Project came out. They're like, you got to read this book. You got to read this book. I got it. I read it. It was mind blowing. I mean, it was like, oh my God, this guy is talking about us. He's talking about everybody, really. He's talking about everybody. This book, if you read that book and not have an oh yeah moment, then I don't know what IT branch you've been working in. Maybe you're working for like a mom and pop shop, probably. But again, I mean, that was an enterprise book. But that really opened up my eyes, and I was like, yeah, this guy's on to something, Gene Kim. I met him briefly at a conference, which was one of the highlights of my career. But that really opened the door for me, and I was like, guys, you got to get this book. You got to get this book. I mean, the book is free. There's an audio podcast of it free. Just go to SoundCloud. You can get it for free. You listen to it. I mean, it will change the way you work. So that was a big big moment in my IT career.
Yeah, I did the book on audio, and it was a good book to listen to. As far as, because like some technical books that you get into that you're like, oh, I can't listen to this. They're just droning on about numbers and code blocks, and I can't see the examples. But this one, because of the way the writing style and the way they present the material as more of a novel, it reads very well, and I highly recommend that to like anybody. Like I do a DevOps talk as part of our onboarding at Caliberty here, and I recommend that to everybody coming through the door to listen to that book.
Really quickly, I think what really also built upon the momentum of the book was that DevOps Days conference was shortly after that, and all across the country. And now it's all across the world. And those conferences were dirt cheap. I compared to other conferences, especially the ones sponsored by vendors, those conferences were dirt cheap. So they knew, they were like, look, this is a movement. We need to get people on board. What's the best way to get people on board? Well, heck, we'll have conferences all across the country for $100. And they're like 3-4 day conferences with all of the leaders. We got the guys who invented DevOps. We got the guys who invented the term. We got Gene Kim. I mean, and so we went to, I've been to a bunch of them. Matter of fact, I've even spoken at 2. But I thought DevOps Days really built upon the momentum of the Phoenix Project, really carried that movement forward. And it's one of the best revolutionary movements that have happened in IT in my 35 years.
Yeah, that one and I haven't read the follow. I have the Unicorn Project, but I have not read it yet. But the other one that I always tell people is Accelerate, right? I mean, that was the one that, like that. If you're, and selling it to developers, the Unicorn or the Phoenix Project, like we get it. We're like, yes, I'm bought in wholesale, right? But trying to sell the notion of DevOps to those, kind of pointy haired bosses type folks. Accelerate is a fantastic book for that. That's actually putting, you're going to get return on investment. Like there's real money here. Doing this is actually a good thing for your business, not just the geeks that want to do fun stuff. Right. So that one's always been one. I think I don't know how many copies of that book I've purchased and given away, but I give that thing out like candy and especially with clients, hey, this is a fantastic book. It kind of helps you understand the way we think about software engineering.
Right.
Yeah.
I read most of the Unicorn Project. It is definitely tailored towards developers, but to your point, Accelerate was first. Accelerate was way before the Unicorn Project. And I need to read Accelerate. It's on my list.
Yeah, it's a good one. You'll like it. I may have a copy that I'll send you.
Oh, nice.
Told you I got a bunch
I might have I think I have a copy of the Unicorn Project if you've lost yours. So.
No,
I think he keeps those by the case. It's just available. It's like, here you go. Here's an Accelerate.
Key.
I know I got my copy right here.
Yeah. I probably gave that to you. Yeah, I'm a book guy. I hand out books to people. I feel like that's one of the best gifts you can give someone is knowledge. So I don't know. It's a cheesy statement, but it's true. So DevSecOps. So in what way, like to kind of explain that a little bit, like what do you think that means in introducing security in the mix? How does that happen?
So the big thing about DevSecOps in my mind is shift left. Let's get ahead of these security problems before as soon as possible in the development cycle. So let's shift left. And so that's a different mindset, big time prior to DevOps. I mean, good God, waterfall security maybe came at the end during the pen tests and stuff.
Right.
And that was it. So this is a total revision of that. It's like, no, you don't wait till the end of security and then scramble and then go, hey, dudes, we're going live tomorrow, whether these are fixed or not. I've got VP sign off. So you go live, vulnerabilities and all, in the old waterfall methodology. So in DevSecOps, it's like, look, let's flip that.
Right.
Let's find these out really early in the development process. Matter of fact, let's find them out in the IDE as the developer codes. Boom. This is critical, dude. This is not going to go live until you fix it. So that's the big takeaway I've had from DevSecOps. Again, it's a collaboration, and it isn't throwing things over the wall. Oh, good luck, ops, and then who's to blame for all the vulnerabilities? Oh, well, he wrote the code. Well, he deployed it. Let's get out of that game. Yeah, that game did nothing. That did nothing, and didn't help the business. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, nobody won with that.
Nobody won.
Too much finger pointing. Nobody. If you're not accountable for the running of the software, you'll take shortcuts. What do I care? I don't have to run this thing. It falls down on its face every night. That's John's problem. I'll let him deal with that. Right? That's not cool.
I always call that like the blame salute, where it's just
one
of these guys. Yeah, it's not me. It's either this guy or this guy.
Not me. It's a famous one.
Well, that's very astute of you. I love the fact that you came from an ops background primarily, system administration on Unix, and then into like more web admin. A lot of those kind of folks felt like DevOps was a threat to them, right? And they kind of fought against it. So I love that.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was I thought it was very revolutionary, and I was like, there was too much. I mean, after decades of animosity between dev and ops and throwing things over the walls, like, at least you got to give this a try. I mean, come on. And it's, collaborate, talk to the developer. I mean, do you think the developer wants to write bad code? Do you think the developer wanted to create a war file that when you deployed it had an infinite loop and sucked up all the CPU resources on your server and paged you at night? I really doubt it. He's probably under stress to make a deadline. He made the deadline, but let's get out of this game. This gets us out of that game.
Right. The developers didn't want to do a loop of blue screens of death. That's not what nobody wanted to do that.
Right.
Well, and that used to be my secret weapon for getting things done back in the day too, was I'm going to befriend at least one ops guy that's going to help me get my stuff working and work with them. And always, it was always kind of like tiptoeing, walking on eggshells, kind of approach until there was that level of trust that, okay, this guy isn't going to point fingers at me. He's really just looking to make his system better. And once we got on even footing, then we could get things done. And then, and this was back in the 90s before the whole DevOps movement and all of that. And then when I heard about the DevOps thing, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I was doing. I'm like, yeah, that works really well.
Yeah. There was a time I collaborated with a bunch of developers, and I was like, hey, that was good. And it was funny. It was like, prior to that, it was always an us versus them. It was always a battle. I was like, God dang it. Do you test your code? And again, I'm coming from the ops side. So I'm in the ops camp. So I'm like, did you test your code? Good God, I'm on this bridge because of your code. And
well, it works on my machine.
Us versus them. But then one time, this developer was like, we deploy this code. It works in dev every time in prod. It just sucks up all the resources. Let's work together on this and figure out what the culprit was. Culprit? Bug in the apps server. So really mine, but nothing I could have fixed unless I, dug deep and memorized all the Cume fixes that the vendor had done, which is never going to happen. But lo and behold, you collaborate, and it was like, oh, we need a Cume fix for the app server. Put the Cume fix on. Boom. App's totally stable.
All right. What's a Cume fix? What's that stand for?
Cumulative fix. Cumulative, it is a a term a vendor loves to use that has three letters.
I gotcha. I've never, yes, I've never heard that one. I
Yes,
learned something new
they're
there.
famous for the three-lettered vendor is famous for cumulative fixes.
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. All right. So you've obviously had a great career, a long career, and you've seen a lot of things. Can you recall any like particularly sticky situations that I mean, as you shared one just now, but like anything in particular that jumps out at you through your career that really rough situation you had to work through, and how did you get through it?
So yes, I have one. I'll never forget it. June 2015. It was a warm day when my boss came up to me and was like, dude, we've got this proof of concept and I've been listening to the meetings and I was like, I'm sending in the big guns. I'm sending in Kimball. Go in there and fix this proof of concept out of control. So I was like, oh boy. So I go in there and they're all gathered. I'm like, where's your Kanban board? What's a Kanban board? Oh boy, we're going to have some fun. Okay. We have Jira. We're going to use a Kanban board. We're going to put tasks on the Kanban board with names on them. Those names are going to be accountable for this task. They had some contractors they brought in doing project management. I don't know what their technique was. I'm thinking it was rock fall technique, the reverse of waterfall. So I was like, yeah, it's 2015. We're going to use Agile. You might have heard of it. No, we haven't heard of it. All right. Well, you're going to hear of it because that's what we're using from here on out. We're going to use a Kanban board. We're going to have what they call scrum meetings. We are going to meet. We're going to be locked in this room. That's another thing. We're going to be locked in this room till we figure this proof of concept out, and we're going to deliver because I've done this before and we've always delivered. So it's got a shot. And from what I'm hearing, you guys got no shot where you are now. So we're going to be locked in this room. 1, 2. We're going to have a meeting every morning and every afternoon before we leave at 3:30. I'm going to hear 3 things out of you. What you did today, what you're going to do tomorrow, who is blocking you, because I am the unblocker. So I need to know who is blocking you. So this was just a hodgepodge of technologies. I'll bring one up you used to be familiar with, Jim. WebSphere Commerce Suite.
Oh,
So
nightmares.
had WebSphere Commerce Suite. This had Samsung tablets. So the project was we're going to put kiosks in the store. We're going to put tablet kiosks in the store. So yeah. WebSphere Commerce Suite, a little bit of WebSphere application server. The other thing, I come there and it's like, we're waiting on machines. We're waiting on machines. I go, no, you're not. There's this thing called the cloud. We can provision a machine in minutes. We will go live in the cloud if we can't get the machines provisioned, folks. You leverage the technology that is at your feet. And some of you came in from the cold. I get it, but we're going cloud from here on out until the prod machines come online. So at least we can start doing development efforts. So long story short, we made it. Employing some agile technologies, we made it. We delivered. And yeah, there were kiosks in the store for a proof of concept store in 2015.
I love that. I love that concept of use the resources you have available, because there are many times where people think that they're blocked when it's like, no, you have resources available to you. I remember running shadow servers under somebody's cubicle desk because we couldn't get rack space, or our budget wasn't approved for server orders, or we didn't even know what the server stack needed to look like yet. And so we're like, well, we've got to work as a team. We got to make sure all of our stuff works together. So we're just going to run the shadow server here. Or we're testing out a new process. I remember at Cengage, we were running our Jenkins servers on PCs in every team space, and so everybody had their own like Jenkins server. It may have been Hudson at the time, but it was, you control your own Jenkins until we can get to a spot where we've proven this out and we can get better resources available. And lo and behold, a couple years of doing that, and no more Jenkins servers in the team spaces. We've got rack space that has several nodes available for building, and we didn't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. I've been down the road of PC development too, and the one thing is funny is people are like, we need that development environment stood up. We need that development environment stood up. Guys, the development environment has a 0% SLA. Do you really care the platform a development environment is on? Heck, we're going to run these off of a freaking network of PCs if we have to. We need to deliver a product. Do not hold the I don't have a dev environment. And again, that's gone away with Docker. And I mean, that's gone away. So we're talking the old days. So some of the young folk are probably like, what are you guys talking about? I was like, yeah, there was a day before Docker and it was not fun. You had to wait for dev environments sometimes.
Yeah, I love being able to run everything locally now.
Especially for languages that were dependent on a native environment.
Right.
So like, well, it has to run on Solaris. So I need a box that can run Solaris.
That's
true. And that was always a gotcha. But a lot of these languages were platform independent. I got to air quote independent because not all of them were.
Right.
So you'd move it from one platform to the other and you'd end up with errors. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, yeah, use your tools, man. Use your tools.
Right. Oh yeah.
Think outside the box. Yeah, those shadow servers, man. I can't tell you how many times I had to do that. Right, like you just get stuff done. If I have to go buy something at Best Buy myself and stand it up and just put it under my desk, fine.
Right.
Get stuff done, man. Don't let things get in your way. That's
yeah.
All right, so you seem like you're a fan of Agile. Sounds like.
So I really like Agile, but I've noticed some myths and misuses and some disturbing observations when using Agile that I wanted to bounce off you guys. So myth number one, Agile is new. No. So you guys have been asking me questions. I'll ask you a question real quick. Don't use Google. When was the Agile Manifesto written? What year?
I'm going to guess 98.
I'm going to go a little later and say 2003.
Oh, Aaron was probably close. 2001. 23 years ago. Second question, last one. What year was Jira released? First version.
I'm going to say 99.
I'll go 2005.
Oh, 2002. 22 years old, 144 in dog years. That is not new.
Right.
I've worked at companies where contractors come in, they can't, Agile, what's that? Jira, what's that? Kanban board, what's that? As I alluded to in my former story. I can't believe these people, I go, you have been in the IT field, working professionally on projects where you had to deliver, and you have no idea what the Agile methodology is. And it's 2015. Heck, I had one in 2021. I've never used Jira. I've never heard of it. Oh my God. I mean, some of these people come armed with Microsoft Project and Excel sheets as their tools of choice, as their weapons to deliver this project. I'm like, get in your time machine, go back to 1995 and flourish. Check the calendar. It's 2024.
Right.
You have got to be on board. It's been going on for 2+ decades. It's not going away. If it does go away, it will be replaced by something better. It's not going to be replaced by Microsoft Project and Excel. I'll tell you that.
I heard something. So last night I was looking into. I'd never read the book Clean Architecture, and then I was watching a video. And Uncle Bob, he was giving a presentation, and he said something. I'm going to maybe butcher the math, but it was something along the lines of like us software developers. The community basically doubles in size every 5 years, and so there's a lot of new people.
Right.
Maybe that has
makes
something to
sense.
do with it. They're not. They really haven't been around for. I don't know, but yeah, I thought that was fascinating to me because he was like, oh yeah, since that's actually we've doubled 3 times since whatever he was talking about. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but like some book coming out, Ivar Jakobsen's book, Ivar Jakobsen, however you say it. Anyway, maybe that has something to do with it. Is it just there's constantly such a large influx of new folks into our industry all the time? Maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm with you. Like Agile, what we run into on the consulting side, because Agile gets a bad rap, right? And I don't think it's we always distinguish it by little a Agile. I don't think little a Agile gets a bad rap. I think everybody's bought into the principles and like the
Yeah.
manifesto. Like if you stick to the principles, everybody's like, yeah, that makes sense, right? It's the big A Agile stuff, the frameworks and I always, and of course nobody's going to get this reference, but I always think of it like the brainy Smurfs of the world. Like, well, actually, Papa Smurf always says, those people, right?
Yeah.
The Agile coaches, and my wife's going to kill me. My wife's an Agile coach for a living, but like that, you have to stick to the exact thing the book says. Like, every
Yeah.
shop I've been in, it's always you tweak it. You take the principles and you tweak it for what makes
Right.
sense for you all. And
Right.
that's the thing I think that where it's getting a bad name is everybody tries to like everybody go by the book and get very litigious about things. So I don't know. That's my
Right.
take for a day.
That's a good segue on my next topic, which is misuse. The number one misuse I've seen is Agile that I can't stand. It's more of a pet peeve than anything is Agile being used as a shield to avoid future work. So we've got these people who I've worked with some people over the past where they fill up their whole quarter with stories and you come to them and go, I need somebody to help me with, let's say, remediate a critical security vulnerability. Nope, all booked up. All booked up. And I'm like, you're not really getting the Agile You haven't read the Agile Manifesto, have you? No, but we're little A Agile. We got Jira, we got stories, we do Scrum meetings, we got a Scrum Master, we got a product owner, we got a product manager. We're doing Agile. Yeah, you're doing little A Agile to a waterfall methodology, which is the Agile methodology was you will react better to change. Here I come with a 5-minute change. I didn't expect that reaction of I'm booked and I'm using Agile as my shield. Look at my Kanban board. I got no place for you. All right, let's come to a middle ground, folks. Budget in 10% a week, 20% a sprint for incidentals, something out of the blue, emergencies. And by the way, when the VP comes to you, I really want to be a fly on the wall when you tell them you're booked for the quarter. You've got no room for them.
Uh-huh.
And you might do that to your peril.
I have been in that room before, and it does not go well.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would put some money. It wouldn't go well.
Yeah, there's usually a few shades of red that happen in the room when that drops out of somebody's mouth. It's like, well, we don't have room to do that. And I'm like, well, you're going to make room, right? And
Right.
it also reminds me of a Dilbert cartoon that I saw before, where in like the first frame, the pointy-haired manager comes in and he's like, well, we need to change all of these specs and work to a new requirement and deliver on the same date. And it's like, and Dilbert's like, we can't do that. It's we're too far along here. And he's like, oh, sure we can. We're Agile.
Yeah,
he's like, that's not how this works.
Agile equals magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Magic Agile. Yeah, I think that, now I look at these situations and I've had them happen with clients and we've had situations with clients, but oftentimes when you look at those sort of behaviors, most people are good people, right? You know what I mean? They're just trying to do the best they can. They've been trained to think that way. And a lot of it is, and I think of Goodhart's law, right? So when the measurement becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. All about that velocity, right? Our velocity, we got to get that number. That's a target. Whereas actually the velocity really should be used as a barometer where if the velocity does drop, well, then that just means that more unplanned work is entering into the mix, or we have more prod support, or whatever happens. It's just an indicator. So, but if you make it a target, now you're going to do everything and drop everything and focus on that target because that's what you're measured against. And that's a lot of times that's one of the misuses of Agile is like using a velocity as that target, and like you have to get to it as opposed to letting it be your indicator of when things are starting to go. You know, you're not as optimized as possible, right? Things, when it suffers, that's unplanned work. That's all of those sort of things.
And to your point, Bill, you got to bill and show the unplanned work, and then based off those analytics, you can adjust your velocity accordingly. And
absolutely,
I mean, I did 2 quarters worth of analytics to find out how much time people spend in meetings that delivered no value. So we baked that into our velocity and said, that's 2 points every week, guys. That's 2 points every sprint. That's 2 points every sprint. Meetings out of the blue, unplanned meetings. And I threw in one for email. I was like, all the email IMs, correspondences, communication. Devote 1 point per sprint for communication. Communication is key.
I'd say I don't know. I'm not in that camp. I don't like putting points towards anything other than the value delivery, because really you want to measure the value stream. It's not a time tracking tool. Agile is not meant to be a time. It's meant to be a how we deliver value, and we're measuring our effectiveness at delivering value. So when you add in those things, you're almost masking the problem, right? Because maybe it's not good that you're spending that much time per week in meetings. Maybe you should try to minimize some of those meetings. By adding it into your velocity, you're kind of papering over that problem of people sitting around navel gazing in meetings too damn much, right? You know, I don't know. That's kind of where I think of it. I love to keep a purist view of velocity and let it kind of be my indicator when things aren't going the way we would like. We'd like for it to get better and better, but stuff happens.
Right. Yeah. And to your point, things change. I mean, I know I've had sprints where, oh God, I only had 2 meetings this sprint. Well, that freed me up, which is good. And I was able to deliver more. So it's more just an average.
Yep.
Yeah. And I do like it as like a watermark, because sometimes, you know, especially in enterprise, there'll be a decision made that changes a process, and you may see a velocity drop. And instead of putting points into, oh, well, now we've got to do like this new release process, and it's costing us because we've got not only to learn this, but it's adding a bunch of extra steps to us. You see that velocity drop, and then managers will be like, well, why is the velocity dropping? Why are you guys not, you know, producing the 14 points you normally do every sprint? And then you can go, well, you instituted this process, and now we're spending more time doing that than we are producing value. And that happens. And the other thing I always, you know, get asked about when you're doing, like, especially on a shorter sprint cycle, is like, why did we not deliver on this sprint, but then this one is like above? And I said, and I always tell them, I said, velocity is kind of like a sine wave, especially depending, you know, and it's in the frequency of, or the amplitude of that sine wave depends on the complexity of the system. So if your system is more complex to where you're spending more time to get work done, your sine wave is going to have a very large shift between the points delivered from sprint to sprint. But at the end, it's going to average out to, you know, whatever your velocity is. Because what will happen is, okay, this story took longer than we had in the sprint to complete, but it completes in the next sprint. And that happens across a team. And so you see a bunch of delivery in one sprint, and then the other sprint is a bunch of work and not a lot of delivery.
Right. And a lot of times when that question is how come you delivered more in this sprint than in the last sprint, the quick answers have been, remember all those meetings we had to attend that sprint, and we didn't have to attend the other sprint that came into play. Remember that bridge we were all on?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. There's so
that
many.
kind of took the points away from the velocity. So
Absolutely.
it's always, I can usually just, especially if it's like one sprint to the next sprint, when it's a short time frame, you can pretty much recall like, well, here are the things that came up during that sprint that didn't come up in this sprint. And it's just life. Let me refresh your memory.
Yeah, and those types of conversations are kind of, I don't know, in a low trust environment where people have to like account for like, well, why didn't you, you're not trusting your team, right? I mean,
Right.
that comes down to, I think it comes down to a question of empowerment, because an empowered team that owns the product and is free to try to improve their daily work, they're going to do that. They don't want all the hoops to have to jump through. They're going to want to improve their daily work. They're going to
Right.
be proud of their product. You're not going to fix people problems with story points. You're just not. If you
Right.
have
Right.
people that aren't wanting to do the work, you just got to.
Right.
What if somebody said they got? Actually, Mark Wiebe says this a lot, and I don't remember what book he said he got it from, but it's like if you can't change the people, then you need to change the people, right? Like get
Right.
different people. So it comes down to people just being bought into the mission, and that could
Right.
be from like are you sharing your vision? Are you explaining to the team why so they can get on board with why are we even doing this thing? Because if they're not engaged, you're not going to be effective.
Right. So, Leslie, I have an observation in the 7 years I've been in an Agile shop. And the observation is, dear Lord, I never expected the bottleneck to be in reviews and approvals. I can't. So, we finally got this nirvana of a system called Agile. And all of the bottlenecks you used to have in waterfall are gone. You're doing your security testing up front. Everything's rolling along and everything is just flying. And the pull request gets submitted and like some emails in the past, just nothing. And it's like, dude, I just need a review and approval and a merge. We're off to the races again. So like I said, in my wildest dreams, I never thought the bottleneck was going to come down to reviews and approvals and merges.
I guess I'd go back to like, empowerment and autonomy of the team because usually when you see that, it's an overly prescriptive process that they're having to abide by. Right. Is usually where you would see that symptom, because you don't want to sit around waiting for it, and I know I don't want to, as a developer on a team, I don't want to have this backlog of reviews that I want to looming over my head at all times. But if you're empowering a team to make adjustments to how we do our daily work and improve things as they see fit and how they best work together, some of those things start to smooth out. So I think it's right. Doing Agile without doing lean, right? So without embracing some of those lean principles of removing waste, right? You know what I mean? Like I think that's where those things. And you're seeing, I think the whole, DevOps and lean and Agile, all of these things are like coming to like this culmination. We're kind of getting this like Uber process now. I'm happy for it. I think it's a lot of these principles are all starting to converge into one, and it's going to be. I think there's a missing ingredient still, but I do think that we're converging on something pretty special in the industry, and hopefully we'll get to a point where we finally solve that productivity, crack that nut that we've been trying to do for 40 years, 50 years, whatever.
Well, and I think part of it too is that there is a lack of trust, especially as you get more tiers of management or more teams involved, like with that growth spectrum of now you've got a bunch of developers all working. You don't have that guarantee that they're all doing it the same way. So how do we ensure that? Then you put in process for check, validate, and reassure that we're doing the right thing, and have all these processes on top of that. And that becomes more of a bottleneck. I'm living through this right now with the client I'm at, where they have enforced almost a waterfall type process after the work is done in order to get it out the door.
Yeah.
So your time from completed story to delivery to production has grown to a large amount of time, and so you end up with large change sets back into a production release, which is a recipe for disaster, right? The larger the change, the more things you change at incremental times, the more likely something is going to break. And unfortunately, processes and things like that that aren't automated aren't following those lean principles, and they define that as value because they think of protection as value, right? And those things end up causing this delay. Get this approval here, get this reviewed here. You've got to go before this committee to get all your check marks checked off, and you've got to fill out this form, and this form, and then supply this report, and this report. Oh, and by the way, did you put the cover on your TPS report? Did you get the memo?
Yeah.
It's that kind of mentality of make sure all your ducks are in a row before you get to production. And it's like, okay. And instead of let's get it out in production and test it before we give it to the public. So there's as part of the DevOps thing, as talk that I give, we talk about the difference between delivery and release.
Right.
And deliver it to the environment that you want it in, test it there, then release it out to your audience that you want, especially with cloud in load balancers and being able to redirect things quickly and on the fly. It's like there's no reason to have that out in that environment. Test it internally and put it through its paces, make sure it works well.
Right.
And then flip the switch for your customers. Right?
I'm a proponent of reviews and approvals, and I'm also a proponent of a reasonable checklist to get things in. I think a lot of the problems are what is the change? And so what I call a lot of the changes we do in the ops area, especially in DevSecOps, these are quick wins, folks. I didn't alter Java code here. Matter of fact, you're not vulnerable. I'm trying to put in an exception. So this is just a quick review. Now, you might argue with me on the conditions. Oh, no, I don't think we're vulnerable. Okay, let's have a healthy discussion about that. That's fine. But I get a little frustrated at people not recognizing the quick wins and the ones that really need the rigor. And it's a little frustrating when things, like I said, it just seems things are just flying and you hit this PR wall of review and approvals that I just never saw coming with Agile. I thought, well, that's going to be fast too. And the changes are going to go in because they were all tested. And if they weren't, well, why did you put the check mark in that you tested this in QA and it passed all the tests and blew up in prod? Well, I didn't really test. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Sometimes you have to, the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, right? But like sometimes you actually, you have to go through the motions of leading that horse to water in order to finally like, oh, I guess he will actually drink out of that stream. I'll give an example. So we used to have these go, no-go meetings, right? And part of that, as Aaron was alluding to, was, you had to bring all this information with you. And one key thing was, I need to see your test report. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But so what are you doing with that test report? Well, we look to make sure every test case passed. I'm like, well, our build process is set up so that if a test case doesn't pass, the build fails, and I don't have software to bring to you to ask, can it go or no go?
Right.
Have you ever had anyone come here with a failing test case that said, I want to go to production? No. So why are we not trusting the automation? You know what I mean? Like we had to go through that exercise of kind of like, here's the stream, take a drink, please, horse. Right. Like and finally some of those aha moments happen. They're like, oh yeah, what we're doing here is really silly. And but it's funny what you can talk yourself into being okay. I've seen that. It's uncanny. The processes people can do and continue. You know, it's like frog soup, right? You can continue to do processes, add steps in, and by the end, 6 months to 12 months down the road, you're doing this just convoluted thing, and you don't realize it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's crazy. All right, Aaron, do you want to introduce our lightning round? I think is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, our lightning round, where we ask a series of questions that mean nothing as far as technology is concerned. They're more just kind of off the cuff questions to get us to know you a little bit better and how you think. So I'll start things off. So what's a nickname your parents used for you?
They don't really have one. I had a nickname in high school, Bomber.
Okay.
We might have to hear about that one.
Do you want the description? It's really bad.
Is it like
fourth grade?
Oh, yeah.
So fourth grade, this kid was shooting pencil leads to me and going, "Here's the Bomber." And he was like, "Oh, you're Bomber." And that stuck till I graduated high school from the fourth grade.
Oh, my God.
That was my middle name.
Oh,
People, some people didn't know my first name. Bomber. They didn't know my last name. Bomber. That's Bomber. New kid coming into school, that's Bomber. He plays basketball.
Yeah. I had a friend growing up. His nickname was Bean. And I didn't know what his real name was. And somebody said one day, like, "Oh, hey, did you talk to Scott?" or something like that. And I'm like, "Scott? Who are you talking about? Scott?" And I'd known this guy for years. And they're like, Bean. I'm like, oh, that's his name.
Yeah, we had the guy in high school like that too.
Yeah, that's a trip. All right, so my first, we're going to do 5 each. We'll do 10. Do you like the smell of gasoline?
Yes. I don't know why.
I'm the same.
Especially when I was younger. Now I could probably... It's a little detestable now. I really liked it as a kid.
I did too.
I remember.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite junk food?
Little Debbie sticks come to mind right away.
Oh, so good.
Pick one. I don't care. I got a Little Debbie snacks. I had that every day for lunch for decades. I went to Cliff Bars now. So after about a decade and a half, I got smart and went to Cliff Bars and was like, they have the same amount of sugar, but they're a lot better for you. Let's go with Cliff Bars. So it's Cliff Bars today. Prior to that, it was Little Debbie big time.
Yeah, I used to like unroll the Swiss rolls, like peel all the chocolate off of them. And, oh man,
fudge rounds. Oh my God, fudge rounds were $1 a box and perfect.
Oatmeal cream pies. That's mine.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Number 2. Coming in at number 2 for me is the oatmeal cream pies.
Oh, okay. All right. From 1 to 10, how hot do you like your shower water?
6.
Good answer.
What does a person need to be happy?
Doing the thing they want to do. Going to work every day and wanting to go to work. Doing something you want to do and find challenging and fun, and you want to do it. So I've been blessed with IT, and why I got into this field. I remember senior year, 82, computer lab. I'm like, ooh, this looks great. What's this? And everybody's into video games and stuff like that. And oh my God, we got a computer lab? And I was like, sign me up for that class, and got an A, and I learned basic. And it's just, the key to happiness is, if you're going to work every day and you hate it, oh my God, you need to find a passion. You need to find something that you like, that you can go to work every day and go, yeah, all right, what's up? What are we doing today? Or, all right, I know what I got to do today, and I want to do it.
Like what you do, and you never work a day in your life.
It's like what you do. If you're going to, especially at a job, I mean, good Lord, these jobs, unless you're independently wealthy, you're going to spend a lot of time at your job. You better like it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. If you were given the opportunity to fly into space, given today's technology, would you take it?
Yes.
All right, that was a simple one. What's for dinner tonight?
Pork roast.
Oh,
I know where I'm going for dinner.
yeah.
I'm going to Nada's. They're going to cook it for me.
Oh, there you
okay.
go. Nice. That was good.
Well, you asked. That's the answer.
Let's see. I'm not going to do that to you. Here's the one I won't do. Tell me what you like to do on weekends in a Valley Girl voice. So no, we won't do that to you. That's something Aaron did to me on like our episode together. I had to say something like a Valley Girl. I'm like, yeah, that's very popular. All right. Do you find handlebar mustaches handsome? Yeah.
No.
If you could ask God one question, what would it be?
Why do people die young? Why do kids die?
How would you rate your karaoke skills on a scale of 1 to Mariah Carey?
Oh, God. I'll go 3.
Go 3.
I think and want to be good, but I don't think I am.
All right, so that concludes this episode of the Forward Slash. I'd like to thank our guest, John Kimball, my beautiful co-host, James Carmen, our production staff, and I am Aaron Chesney. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for future episodes of the Forward Slash, where we lean into the future of IT.